The Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening. Is there anyone here for the 2-minute open forum?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Before I start, though, I want to verify something. Is the camera system working tonight? Yes. It is? Because there seemed to have been a problem at the February meeting because nothing was posted. At the February meeting, I had that on the screen. And it's pretty obvious what I was asking for. At the next city council meeting, the bottom item on there was projected annual revenues for the support the recent amphitheater investment, along with all the other above ones. There's a copy for everybody here this time, so you can't see it didn't, that, because the camera wasn't working, obviously, so you're gonna get the information now, so that you guys can make this, have this report done and ready for the public, so they can know how much money you're spending of their tax dollars on all these projects. I think it's very important that they know that. Very important.
Have you looked at the budget report each year?
Have I? No, this is open forum, you can't talk at me. And so there's a copy here for everybody. And the other thing that I want to lay out as a request is that I would like to be appointed as a local liaison from the city of Waite Park as a citizen to represent citizens to the Minnesota League of Cities. I would like to be represented when they have their meetings, a representative there to witness what goes on, basically. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Peter Wilson, Celebration Drive, Sartell, Minnesota. Put this out here. Some other things to be passed around. As regards the, this is again kind of a rehash, but some different things on the 5G health risks. Again, I've seen, it appears to be anyway, that some of these towers are starting to be put up already, maybe not the devices. And the question is what is the short-term effects, to 10 years, midterm, I would just 10 to 30, and then long-term. What are the long-term effects of this? Again, there's a lot of, some things, I can't say I know, but I've seen many things that seem to say it's quite negative, others positive. Some cities and communities have come out aggressively against it and don't allow it. Some do. I guess the real thought would be is, if there is a problem, are you prepared to pay consequences? Money? Do you have a bond posted? Again, I don't know that it'll be an issue, but come 20, 30, 40 years from now, and there's 5,000 people that have issues, are you prepared for it? Next thing, again, the idea being here that there's, again, what are the medical issues, that there's been a open and frank discussion of the positives and the negatives of this. Next thing I want to talk about is an update on the election complaint we made based on some things. We haven't heard yet. We did make an inquiry. There is no, we have not heard back. So sometime in April, we'll be following up on that again, trying to find the final resolution of that, again, plus or minus. The other thing I want to bring up, because I was at the Planning Commission and intend to go to all of those, I have a chance to, is this. The comments that were made, oops, sorry, just over 2 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone here for 2-minute open forum? Anyone else? 2-minute open forum? Anyone else, 2-minute open forum? If not, review and approve council agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Further discussion. All in favor?
No, no additions or deletions to the agenda?
They've already been
in there.
included
Oh,
in this
all
one.
right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passed unanimously. Consent agenda items. Item A, approve 2/11/19 council minutes. Item B, approve 3/7 council minutes. Item C, accept Quick Trip sign agreement and annual donation. Item D, authorize hiring process for part-time CSO,
I'd like to pull that.
police officer, and utility operator. Approve Tri-County Humane Society's contract for animal control services.
Pull that one.
Item F, renew joint powers agreement for internet crimes, children investigations.
Pull that one.
And item G, authorize SEH to complete preliminary design on West Avenue, Second Street North.
I'll move to approve A, B, C, and G.
I'll second.
Further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Vic, item D.
The only reason I pulled that is I wanted to make a comment here. I talked to Dave previously when he brought that CSO position forward, that CSO position included in its duties, that they would be dealing with the handicap parking stalls in the city of Wade Park. And at this point in time, when I talked to Dave, they're not doing that. It's not on the agenda to be done. And I find it very difficult to support this process for another CSO at this time if we're not going to follow through with what we did the last time. So I just wanted to make that comment before we move forward.
All right. Any other comments on that one?
I'll
Somebody,
make a motion to approve item D.
Second.
further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Mike, E and F.
Let's see, E. I really don't like the wording in some of this. Let's see if I can get to it here. Okay. After holding an animal for 5 working days, I guess I don't understand. It's gonna be vaccinated, deworm, and evaluate the animal, but at the end of 5 days for stray or 10-day-old seized animals, these animals are gonna be euthanized. I like animals. A lot of these strays that are picked up may be feral, especially the cats. Dogs, a lot of times, are just loose. People just misplace them. After 5 days, euthanize an animal without giving it a second chance in life is not a very good thing to do, I don't believe. So I don't know if we should change that wording or change the agreement. I can't go with this, the way it's worded with the euthanasia of the animals at such a short time.
Where are you reading?
Where are you reading that, Mike?
I'm reading that in E, D and E. D, at the end of
I
a
see the
5-day
five-
hold for stray or 10-day hold for seized animals, claimed the impounded animals as property of TCHS.
Yep.
Euthanized and disposed of animals
Yeah.
not claimed and adopted.
But that doesn't mean that they're gonna be euthanized right
In
after
5
5
days.
days.
They could
They're
be-
gonna try to adopt any animals out that they
Yeah.
can.
Well, then I
And-
think it should be explained in there that there will be a period of time where these animals could be adopted out, and if not after that time, then maybe they could deal with the problem in E.
These are their standard agreements that they have in place with how they
Yeah,
handle
but
their
we're making an
procedures.
agreement with them, and what we put in the agreement, if they don't want to agree with, then I guess we would have to look elsewhere.
The question is, how long do we want to pay for those animals to sit there? They could sit there for 45 days at $10 a day.
15.
They're paying 5 to 10 days is what we're paying for, and the prices
Yeah,
are
but it's,
right here on the
it's,
bottom.
but it's gonna go up if we keep them for 40 days.
Right.
It's not what it says here.
That's state statute, 5 and 10 days, and it's the same thing that CMAC had, the same thing we had with Tri-County years ago. That's just normal practice. Do they euthanize many? No, because they get rid of them, they find a home for them. But they have to have it in there so that they have the right to do that. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, Mike, but I understand where you're coming from. But, that's normal, and especially the Tri-County Humane Society. They're a lot more, I would say, forgiving than maybe another type of kennel situation, so.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. All right, somebody want to move to approve E, or?
Yeah, because it says holding per day is $15, so.
Well, if they're gonna hold it for days anyway, what's the difference? If you put a day amount in there, or if not, then it would be up to them to decide what to do after that
And they,
period of
and
time.
that's the right they have. They can hold them for longer than that. If they think if it's a good
If
animal,
it's a
and they
good
can,
animal,
and it can be
they
adopted,
can adopt it.
they're not gonna euthanize that animal if they can
No,
adopt it
It's
out.
a humane society. I'm gonna move to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve it as written.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Me?
4-1. F, Mike.
F. The reason I wanted F pulled was, I kind of talked to Dave about it a little bit, but I thought it would be kind of a good informational piece to the public that the PD would let us know what exactly goes on with this joint powers agreement with the internet crimes with the children and investigations. So I believe Tom will take care of that. Tom, talk in the microphone.
What it does is it allows us to continue to work with other agencies within the state for that sharing of information. It also allows training, which we just sent Investigator Thompson to, who's working on the human trafficking task force piece. And without going to these, we lose that ability to get this information. And that's, the sharing of information, especially in these cases, is extremely important to us.
Not just local, but also, from what I understand, you work with the state agencies, the BCA.
It's state, it's federal, it's
different
correct.
agencies, not just locally, but throughout the state to help to curtail.
Correct. If there's any situations where there's a tip, or if the BCA and/or the FBI get something, that's how we get contacted, and then we can work through that with them. And they're able to give us that ability to see whether these are true victims or if there's where these photos are coming from, and it helps with the prosecution of these type of crimes.
All right, somebody want to,
Move to approve?
Second.
further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. Not sure what A and B I should take. I'll take the one on the screen. Regular agenda, consider the award of the amphitheater park project Phase 2 improvements.
How about A?
That's what I said. I don't know which A or B I should take first. They're both flipped. One's flipped. So I took it on the, so I took it off the screen that's up on the
On the
board.
board.
On my stuff, it's,
Consider the award of the amphitheater project Phase 2 improvements. Anybody got any questions, or?
Well,
have the final plat.
if this is approved. All right here?
Yep, all right.
If this is approved, the person we're going to let this bid out, we're gonna do some change orders with on possibly part of it. We don't have to go out for bids on any change order if it's awarded?
They're not change orders, they'll be alternate bids.
Alternates.
Alternate?
They're alternates. What we're bidding tonight is the
Part number two, though.
is the
Base
the
bid.
base bid of the stage, the what's not in it is the 2 concession stands, basically.
But if there's other work that will be added in the future to it.
We will look
would
at
do
how that
other
can be
change
done.
orders
Or alternate bids, yep.
or alternate bids?
We have the alternate bids already, so all we have to do is, if we use them in the right time frame, we can still use that and award it to them.
Through a change order, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And those bids are lower, I noticed anyway, from anybody else, so.
Right.
So if the council so chooses they want to move forward with either one of those or both, there'll be a change order that'll bring it into that price that was bid. Any other change orders on the project for any other items? That's negotiated with the contractor. and the owner of the city.
The three alternates that are left, we actually have bids on them, so.
Right.
Now, with this phase two, we're adding the 20,000 for the metal walls into that
On the
bid.
sides.
Metal panels, yep.
How about the alternate bid for the photovoltaic system?
That's the solar panels that are gonna go on top of the concession stands, which if we don't build the concession stands, it's pretty
We
hard to
don't
put them
need
on
that.
top.
Well, we may have to look at doing them in the future, but the purpose of it is that those that are planned are for that. So when the concession stand goes in, those panels will go in at that time.
So we're just gonna wait until that
Yes,
happens?
and if for
then-
some reason the concession stand doesn't get built, then we'll have to address if there's still a need, because what will happen then is there's energy modeling that's done, and the energy modeling is based off of having both of those concession stands in there. It may not be needed if we didn't build either one of those concession stands, so that's the reason why.
I'd make a motion to award the bid.
Second.
Further discussion?
Can I,
Phase two.
yep, but are you including alternate number 4, which is the panels? Okay, I just want to
Steel
verify.
panels.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously. All right, and item A or B, depending on what sheet we're looking at.
Third Street.
Consider the preliminary and final plat, Crossroads Loft and Shops located at 205 3rd Street Northeast.
Mr. Mayor, council members, anyone in the audience or watching at home. This is kind of the final component of the small plan unit development we saw for Jim Rakshani, DBA Globe Enterprises. This is the platting of the single parcel where his two-story building's proposed. Not really much to look at, but it is required as part of the redevelopment. The property's not been previously platted, so we do require that it has to be platted prior to the redevelopment. It's a simple, single lot, single block, not really changing anything. The one thing I would note is, we're gonna have the architect modify, or, the surveyor modify the easements on there to, bring those down to reflect the setbacks that we approved as part of the conditional, or part of the plan unit development, because they're not aligned right now. Small modification to the plat you're seeing. The park board did recommend approval of a payment in lieu of parkland dedication in the amount of $5,464. We based that in this case off of the per dwelling unit at $683 per dwelling unit. We did receive comments back from Stearns County because it fronts county right-of-way. They don't have any major concerns with it. Standard comments that we provided to the applicant, and they're reflecting that in their plans. Nothing we didn't already know. I'm supportive of the preliminary and final plat. Looking forward to seeing this move forward. I'd recommend approval of the final plat with 2 conditions. Number 1, that the development upon the property may be subject to a development agreement with the city if deemed necessary. And number 2, that the property is subject to the requirement for a payment in lieu of parkland dedication, as recommended by Park Board and established by City Council in the amount of $5,464. And that any required parkland dedication fees must be paid prior to affixing of the city signatures upon the plat. With that, I'll open it for any questions, but I think we've worked through a lot of the request here, and we're getting ready to go before long.
Got a couple of real quick ones.
Sure.
In the previous meeting we had, he was gonna get a cross easement with his neighbor there so that there's a possibility of using the parking lot as, what would you call it, more or less a through street?
Yep.
Has that been acquired?
He hasn't formally told me that yet. Their latest plans are depicting a cross easement, though. It's not something that we had required, but we're certainly encouraging it. I don't know for sure that he's secured that yet.
The way that we can, I guess I don't wanna see any future problems arising without an easement there, that they're squabbling about their traffic is crossing over with each other. Possibly parking being taken from the next part for this addition. Can we require a cross easement prior to the
I don't
you can't
believe
tell
that
the
we
other
can do that
property
at this
owner
point.
that.
This is the plat.
This is, yeah.
Yeah, we're very limited in what we can associate with the plat review. I think as of the review of the plan of development, we came to some resolution that we were not necessarily thrilled, but comfortable with where the parking situation was at. I'll continue to work with the applicant and, as far as looking at parking.
Tom, there's a guy out there, Tom, looking, I don't know if he's looking for police or not. He was out there and then he came in and he was looking around, so I don't know if he needs somebody from the police department or not. Go ahead.
We'll continue to examine that. As a kind of an aside, the applicant's also looking and coordinating at least preliminarily with some surrounding property owners, looking at acquiring those properties, which could alleviate some potential parking concerns. And we're continuing to work on that kind of separately. I think we'll see something in the future on that, for some similar kind of development to this on some neighboring adjacent parcels.
To my concern, that was one of them that was brought up, that cross easement, so that there can be a flow of traffic through there, and, we also discussed the parking issue with this. Winter time, and this would be a good winter to, relate back to with the amount of snow. He's gonna have to have automatic removal of the whole property so that the parking problem will not exist there. And,
Bill and I
that's
actually
kind
met
of one of
with-
my pet peeves with some of our surrounding is they build these things and we're parking on the roads.
Yeah, Bill and I actually met with the applicant last week to work through some of those questions. Not that alone, we were looking at the utilities and preparations for his submittals. But he is aware that he's gotta maintain the parking level of what it would be in summer. If that involves trucking out snow or taking it elsewhere, that he's gonna be responsible for that. That we can't, especially in this case, that we can't afford to eat up parking stalls with snow storage.
We're already short, so.
But that's already been approved by the council, that was part of the plan unit development. And I'm aware, I'm cognizant of the parking concerns, but this is the plat.
This is just the plat
It's
piece.
platting.
We'll worry about that when that comes about. We can address that at that time.
Yeah, and the applicant's aware of that, and I think he's gonna be on top of it. And should it become an issue, I'll be sure to stay on top of it as well with him.
Any other questions? Somebody want to move to approve, or deny, I guess, the final, preliminary and final plat with the, two recommendations from staff?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, what do I got?
Yeah,
Bills.
the bills were added late today because I didn't realize that they didn't get included in here. So if you're not comfortable passing them, we do have a border review meeting on next Monday, the 8th, and I can certainly put them back on if you want more time to review them.
What's your wishes, council?
I'd make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second it. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes. I did not get a chance to read them, so I'd like the minutes to reflect that.
All right, then we'll show them on the 8th. All right.
Did it go down for?
That went
Okay,
down.
I didn't.
3
hear.
to 2, 2 to 3.
Oh, really? I thought it got approved.
I got it.
No, you denied it.
No, it was denied to
Oh,
approve it.
all right.
We'll put them on the 8th agenda. I have a couple things. Thank you from the Paramount Center for the Arts for the donation that we gave them through our charitable gambling. A thank you from Anna Maria's Alliance for our donation that we gave them through our charitable gambling. A thank you from Boys and Girls Club for our donation that we gave them through our charitable gambling. And also, I have, it's greetings from the Central Minnesota Foster Grandparents Program. And what it is every year they do this. It's, in fact, they just have a Move the Mall walk there Saturday at Crossroads, and it's a fundraiser for foster grandparents. And it's just to say that to congratulate these foster grandparents and that they have to put in 15 hours per week. And in 2018, 5 volunteers served 3,369 hours, and those volunteers include Sister Marita Naljewski, Kay Hines, David Leslie, Mary Schill, and Aggie Steichen. And tomorrow, which is April 2nd, is National Service Recognition Day, so I just wanted to show that. The other thing I just like, on a personal note, especially from the city standpoint, because I did have some comments, believe it or not, that were very positive, and I believe, Bill, tell your people, you and your people, you did a hell of a job with snow, so. I've had a couple people say they know when they get to Way Park because the streets are plowed, so. That's it. Shauna?
I don't have anything. Other than border review meeting is April 8th,
Oh, yeah.
same time, same place. We'll probably do a short council meeting right before that. I have another, got some seasonals that we'll be putting on there as well.
Shawna, West Avenue.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Tomorrow evening, that's right, thank you, Bill, April 2nd, meeting here in the council chambers at 6 PM to discuss with property owners the West Avenue and Second Street North improvements.
Gary, you got anything? Bill, you got anything? John?
No, sir.
Assistant Acting Chief? Carla? Keith? Paul? All right, we are adjourned at 6:56.